Turn some light up. That's better. Well, I managed to check in before a couple weeks went by at least. Interesting week, that's for sure. Wait and see who pops in. Oh, man. Oh, wiped out. Oh, easy getting old. Wow. Already a thumbs up. Thank you. Appreciate you. Welcome aboard. I guess the notices must have went out. Happy Easter, Johnny. The kids in the house. Good to see you, young man. Oh, you know what? I think I got a voicemail from you. I was in the shower and I saw something on the phone. I meant to give you a call. Good to see you. Oh, wow, we bopped up to 4 right quick, so I guess a couple folks are here. I have an interesting opinion on Easter, but I think I'll wait till a few more people get in here before I get to talking about it. So odd to me. Easter. Chocolate bunnies and dyed eggs and candy and a basket and all the rest of it, which has really got nothing to do with what Easter's all about. Kind of strange. How was your Easter, kid? I see we're bopped up to 6 right quick. Welcome aboard. Oh, I don't think most people even know what Easter's all about in this day and age. I know when I was a little kid, wow, a bunch of new faces. How you doing? Big is in the house. Livy, Livy, BNHA. Sorry, you guys, if you're new, which it would appear. I don't read so good. God, there you go. That's what Easter's all about. Jesus loves you. Happy Easter. Big. Thank you. Appreciate that, man. I do. And right back at you. Yeah, I was going to get into this topic of Easter. It's the kid. It's pagan fertility god. They have flipped everything. Yeah, there you go, kid. Yeah, when I was in grammar school, and this is going back to the 60s, Henry's in the house. How you doing tonight? I'm hanging in there, Henry. Shirkin. Why you bald? I don't know. You'd have to ask Mother Nature. So anyway, back when I was a kid in grammar school, we had these desks that we would sit at, and in front of our desk we'd hang a little envelope, and kids would bring a stack of Easter cards to school and walk around and put little cards in each envelope hanging off your desk. Never really understood that. It was more of a popularity contest. Kids would see who got the most cards, which has got nothing to do with God. And then, dyeing eggs, it's got nothing to do with God. An Easter basket and marshmallow bunnies and hollow chocolate bunnies and all this crap, a bunch of junk food. Got nothing to do with Easter. Hi, can I wish you a happy Easter? Yes, you can. Fariza. Fariza? Sorry, I don't read so good. To get back on point, about grammar school and Easter and my childhood. You know, it wasn't until I got to be an adult did I know what Easter really meant, what it was all about. And now I'm not going to try to offend nobody. I have a very strong and unique belief in God. I'm not religious. I think religion has a way of, what's a polite way of putting it, shaping the belief in God. They try to get you to believe in God the way they want you to or the way they do. And nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm very pig-headed that way. I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm trying to tread lightly because people get uptight. They really get stuck on the way they believe certain things, and it's not for me to tell you how to believe in God. My relationship with God is very unique. When I was young, Mom was Catholic, and being Catholic and getting pregnant outside of marriage, it really messed her up. Back in those days, they would send you off to a boarding school for unwed mothers and all that kind of nonsense. So anyway, Mom was real turned off to the Catholic religion. And when we were little, she took us to Baptist church, First Baptist Church or something, I think, if memory serves. That was okay. She also took us to she did the born again Christian thing for a quick minute, I think. And this is going back to when I was like 4, 5, 6 years old. So bear with me as I try to remember some of this stuff. And the born again Christian thing, Mom said to repeat what this lady said. And it's like this little speech thing you do, and then you're saved. You're born again. And your soul is guaranteed to go to heaven. And that didn't make any sense to me, even as a little kid. You know, just because I could say some words and I don't even know what I'm saying, but that means I'm saved. It just didn't make sense to me. And once again, everybody's entitled to believe however they want. And then as an adult, I didn't go to church. In fact, it wasn't cool to say, or I should say, it wasn't cool to talk about God. People would look at you, you know, like you're a sissy or something, you know? So I really didn't have any God in my life growing up. And having faith in God, you know, that was slim to none. I always believed in God because the one thing Mom said to me as a kid that always stuck with me, that made the most sense, the worst sin you could commit is not believing in God, being an atheist. God's not real. And I always believed in God. I just didn't want to be told how to believe in God. And then about a year ago, when I was in the other house, there was a snake under the apple tree, and it just ate a mouse, and it had a big old lump in his belly. Belly was all poked out, so he couldn't run away. And it got me thinking about Adam and Eve, you know, out of the Bible. And on the same day, there's a gentleman that I follow, Tack Room Bible Study Talk, because he's another gentleman that reads the words out of the Bible and interprets them the way they were meant to be interpreted. right? He tries to explain it to the letter of the law. This word means that, this word means that. So he tries to put it in proper context. And I like that. He's a cowboy, but he's also a preacher dude, or he used to be. And his father was a missionary, and so he was raised very religious, but he's not a religious person. He just wants you to know what the Bible says. And he wants you to find, get choked up. He wants you to find your own answers. And so between the snake under the apple tree, and I watched a video he did on the same day, and he was talking about being baptized. You know, people say you got to be dunked in water and what being baptized means, and your soul won't be saved until you get baptized and all this nonsense. You're not ready for what's coming, trust me. The way my brain works. So, religion, my belief in God, my belief in religion, and all the rest of it comes from a very eclectic life. But I have a very, very, very strong faith in the Lord above. And Easter being the day that Jesus was resurrected, right? Came back to life on Easter Sunday. Here it comes. It makes me think about NDE, near-death experience. People that die and come back to life. Jesus died and came back to life. Well, there's plenty of us humans that have died on the operating table or in a car accident, have a very, very religious type experience and come back to life. And I've seen well over 100 videos of different people giving their testimony. In the good book, it talks about you giving testimony for God. So you can kind of say, this is my testimony, how I believe in God. Watching all these different NDE videos and people dying and coming back to life, many of them talk about meeting God, meeting Jesus, meeting family members, having a life review. You get to see your life, and you get to see the things you did, excuse me, the things you did right and the things you did wrong. And even more than that, you get to see the effect you have on other people, both good and bad. Now, if you get curious and you go watch these NDE videos, some of these people are full of shit. You can tell they're making their videos to get attention. I watched a gentleman yesterday talking about his near-death experience, and this guy was a marine biologist. He drowned in the ocean, and he was giving his testimony. And he wasn't a religious guy. He was just a normal dude, and he was telling his story. And he got choked up and cried 3 or 4 times. And you could tell he wasn't lying. I grew up in 15 different foster homes, had a very, very, very hard life. And I got pretty good at being able to tell when somebody was bullshitting me. I always give people the benefit of the doubt, and you let them run their mouth long enough, and they'll step on their Johnson. You'll know when they're lying. And so, watching a lot of these NDE videos, as soon as somebody sounds like they're full of shit, I just turn them off. But when somebody really captivates me or catches my attention, I listen very closely. And to me, that has a lot to do with Easter, Jesus dying and coming back to life. They talk about how we are all a spark of God, right? We're all part of the same thing. I believe that. And they talk about how wonderful it is where they go and how they don't want to come back and how they're told they need to come back because they need to give their testimony about what they went through and what happened. And I believe that because listening to their testimony gives me faith. It's hard to believe something you can't see. Whether it's somebody talking about a near-death experience or a preacher up at a podium talking about Jesus coming back to life. You know, that's just hearsay, as far as I'm concerned. You got to have faith that what you're hearing, you can believe in, right? I told you weren't going to see this one coming. Near-death experience and Easter and the correlation between the two. I think it's pretty powerful. Probably ought to get caught up. Where'd I leave off? Henry, how you doing tonight? And how have you been doing? I'm hanging in there, Henry. Thank you. Shirk, why you bald? Got that. Hi, can I watch you have a happy Easter? Sure. Religion is division. Couldn't have said it better myself, kid. Absolutely. Great saying. How it is unique. Not sure what you mean, OM. Batshit crazy's in the house. Too long, man. Yeah, I know, dude. I'm trying. I'm trying to be more regular. It's just been hard, brother. Been going through a lot, man. Cypress. Happy Easter, Johnny. Thank you, Cypress. Appreciate you. The kid. The Creator gave us free will to choose wisely. It's your future. There you go, kid. Thanks again for hitting that button. I appreciate you. We're up to 11. Yeah. Like I said, I've watched a lot of near-death experience videos. A lot. Something I've been very curious about for a long time. Even used to do some ghost busting back in the day. Been fascinated with the afterlife since I was a little kid. Where do we go when we die and all that kind of thing. And with everything that's happened to me since I've been living in this little town, moved to this little town because of somebody who said a prayer for me, you know, going to church and getting closer to God was one of the motivating factors that helped me to move to this town. To move to this town. And I've heard quite a few people talk about when you're on the right track and you're trying to do good, the devil will stick his nose in your business. And I believe that too. It's the only thing that can truly explain what happened to me here. I made a lot of mistakes in my life. My intentions were always good, but my delivery sometimes not so good. And when I have my life review, the good will outweigh the bad. And that's all you can ask for as being a human. You know, I come out here all the time talking about doing a kind act for a stranger. You go to the coffee shop, grab a donut and a cup of coffee, grab an extra donut and an extra cup of coffee, hand it off to the nearest homeless person. It's very important. It's the small things that can make the biggest difference for somebody who's down and out, somebody that's having a hard time. I preach that because that's the kind of stuff that makes me feel good, to help somebody. I moved to this piece of property to try to get 10 people to live here with me and save 100 dogs. Pit bulls are my passion. My 2 dogs were my little angels. And since they've been gone, life's been real lousy. Just trying to get through the day. Been very difficult. And I don't expect anybody to really understand, because you haven't lived my life. And you can't feel what I feel. You can listen to my testimony and you can either believe me or you can think I'm full of shit. Either way, that's your free will. Bad shit. No judgment here, brah. Oh, thank you, bad shit. I appreciate you, man. 420 Easter. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Gone John's in the house. Hey, Johnny, long time, brother. Yeah, I know, man. I know. And I feel bad I don't get out here as regular as I should. I just don't like coming out here in a bad mood. And my health hasn't been good. I think I got some stuff going on with my heart. I can hear my heart pounding in my ears and ringing in my ears and short of breath and all this bullshit. So I think I got some issues besides the one I've been had for a long time. And before you say go to a doctor, I've been to a couple doctors in this little town and it was a nightmare. So until I can find a good doctor that I trust, going to a doctor is just a waste of time. But listening to the NDE videos, having a strong faith in the good Lord, if God decides to take me, I'm cool with it, I'd like to finish what I started and get a dog rescue going and leave a legacy, start a charity, find some people to help me, put their name on the paperwork so when I die, they can keep it going. My brother don't need all my crap. He's got plenty of his own. And doing a kind act for a stranger, I would love to give everything I own to some strangers so that I can help them help the doggies. That's how I want to give back, right? That's why I say, when I meet the good Lord and we're eyeball to eyeball, I'll be comfortable. Because whether I finish what I started or not, my intentions were pure. Not too many people go through the life I went through and try to start a charity. And whether I'm successful or a failure at it, my intentions are what counts. The good Lord knows what's in my heart. He knows I tried. Most of my life has been filled with suffering, one way or another. And God knows that too. It's pretty intense when you watch these near-death videos and these people talk about their life review and how detailed it is and their interactions with God or the powers to be or the spirit, or call it whatever you want. That's just a label. It lets me know I'm going to be all right. Little heavy tonight on this one. Like I said, my health has been shitty and it weighs on me. Mostly because I don't want to die in this house. There are people in this town that would be quite happy if I croaked while I was living here, believe me. Anyway, let me check some comments. I don't want to get too dark. Oh, Putty Cat. The kid. We all make mistakes. It's the ability to recognizing those mistakes to not repeat. Amen. Putty Cat. Easter is a pagan term. Passover is the Christian term. Thank you for that, Putty Cat, and you're right. Johnny, your timeline is in God's hands, not yours. Not your hands. Yeah, I know. I know. But like I said, I got my reasons to not want to be here when I pass. And it's got nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with doing a kind act for a stranger. Something happens to me here, there are people in this town that will take advantage of my passing to benefit them. And that would be a bummer. But if that's God's will, you know, once I die, I won't give two shits about what happens here. That's the one thing everybody says when it comes to their near-death experience. They don't want to come back. That you completely disconnect from this life. And all you want to do is stay home. You want to be in the light. You want to be with God. You're filled with love. And the feeling is so strong and so overwhelming that you don't want to come back here. I highly encourage you to go watch some near-death experience videos. There's lots of them out there, and if somebody's telling their story and you think they're full of shit, go watch another one. I guarantee you, you're going to watch one that'll make you cry. And you'll know that what that person's telling you isn't a bullshit story. You know, they talk about floating outside of their body, looking down in the operating room, and telling the doctor what the doctor was talking about in the operating room after they were flatlined. They were clinically dead, and they could hear everything the doctor said, and when they come back to life, they tell the doctor, yeah, I was floating above my body, and I heard you say this, that, and the other thing. There's a gentleman, and I forget his name, has investigated over 1,000 of those stories, and several times that people have come back and said things there's no way they could know. Things outside of the hospital, just, I mean, it's amazing, right? Jesus Christ died and came back to life after being crucified on the cross. Somebody died in a car accident, was zapped with the paddles, came back to life in the hospital, and then they got their own testimony, just like Jesus had his testimony. We're all part of the same story. Putty Cat. For believers, death has no power to separate them from God. There is assurance of eternal life with him. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, young lady. The kid, the road is wide and the gate is narrow. I like that, kid. Putty cat. There was only one perfect person to walk the earth, and they nailed him to a cross. Amen, young lady. Amen. JJ's, happy Easter. Thank you, JJ. Happy Easter to you, brother. The kid, they will never conquer the spirit. There you go. Absolutely, kid. Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of weird how my brain works sometimes, and I was really stuck on this thing with Easter, the resurrection of Jesus, and near-death experiences, and how even a simple human can have a resurrection. And maybe that's not a good word to use, but you die and come back to life, and you come back with your own testimony, right? Very powerful. Just like what Jesus did, very powerful. And there's no denying it. Not if you have faith. You can be an atheist and say everybody's full of shit all you want. You'll find out, just like I'll find out, just like we're all going to find out one day when we die, what's waiting for us. One thing I know for sure, Easter is not about candy and bunny rabbits. But more people believe in the Easter bunny than they do God. I have no doubt, especially in this day and age. And that saddens me, man. It's always the children that pay the highest price because their parents are a mess. I went through a lot of shit because mom suffered. She tried. She did. She tried. Didn't have a dad. And there's a lot of kids out there that are like that. Come from a broken home. Got no direction. Got no good advice. Got nobody there to help guide them through life. And like I said, this YouTube channel is my diary. It's my journal. It's my testimony. And it will outlive me. Unless YouTube shits itself. And the thing about YouTube, so get this. I had a lot of videos up here that I took down and made private. Videos from when I was in the trailer before the dogs died, and I was real upset after everything I went through. I'm not going to get into all the details of everything that's happened to me since I've been here, but I used to come out here and talk a lot of shit about things that happened in this neighborhood. And I didn't want all that negative stuff up there. I took down a lot of good stuff too, because there were a lot of powerful lessons in those videos. That's why I didn't just delete them. I just made them private, and I thought one day after the dust settles and I'm long gone from here, maybe I'll put some of them back up because there's some good material in there. But get this. Somebody was able to view videos that I made private, because in the background, I can see when a video's been viewed. And when I saw the thumbnail on a couple of these videos, I knew immediately those were videos that I made private, and I checked on them, and sure enough, they were private, but somebody saw it. And one of them, and don't ask me how, but one of them that I knew was private was no longer private. So I went back and made it private again. The thing is, I was accused of spoofing phone numbers and doing malware, things that I know what it means because I had to look it up on YouTube, but I don't possess the capabilities to do either one of those things. But that's what I was accused of in a courtroom. So for somebody to view a video that was made private, somebody would have to have those kinds of skills. And when somebody accuses you of something that you didn't do, chances are that's because they did it. You know what I'm saying? I've been up against a great deal of adversity since I moved to this little town. Like I said, the devil's had his way. And there's only so much I can do. You guys watch me try to read these comments. Do you think I know anything about a malware? But I do know malware, if installed in your gadget, they can listen to your microphone and look at your camera and all kinds of nonsense depending on what kind of malware it is or something. I don't know, it makes my head hurt when I think about that kind of garbage. But I really don't care. I don't do nothing wrong, never have. Put a piece of tape over the camera when I'm not using it, and who gives a fuck? You want to listen to me work on the house or bang around in this empty house by myself, you go right ahead and listen. There's nothing to listen to. Lonely old man that tried to start a dog rescue and landed in a shitstorm in this little town. It's too bad because I could have helped a lot of people. Other foster children that had a hard life, homeless veterans, ex-convicts, anybody that's got PTSD. Because to me, birds of a feather, man, you can help heal each other, support each other, be there for each other. Even though our scars might be different, we share a basic understanding of how shitty people are and how important it is when you get good people in your life to take care of them. That's what motivated me to come here, was try to help people. I've tried to help people my whole life. Had to be the man of the house. Watch out for my mom and my brothers. Mom telling me that when I was like 10, 11 years old. You're the man of the house. You can't take the hammer to Willie because who's going to protect us? Shame on you. The ones that brought me drama and brought me harm, shame on you. The good Lord will deal with you in his own way. You know, I wanted my justice, and I still do. But that's God's job, not my job. You know, thinking that there was going to be a white knight coming down my driveway to save the day and straighten all this mess out. Wishful thinking. But, you know, I've been through worse than what this little town dished out, that's for sure. And if I'm lucky enough and my health is good enough to get me back home, I'll have a little dog rescue, even if it's only me and a half dozen dogs. And I'm quite content with that. The kid, JKIDK. I don't know how to say that. Would you rather watch a tree grow? There you go. Real mature, homeboy. The kid. Your secret admirer. Yeah, no doubt. You're a good person. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, kid, exactly. My secret admirer. You know, like I said, people in this town, quite a few. Wisconsin was settled by a very large German immigration back in the day. And if you look up the university There's a big university in Wisconsin. They do a lot of high-tech gadget spy bullshit at this university. Project Paperclip, I heard some of those people settled up here. So what's that tell you? Yeah. And to those people, I'm a race traitor, right? My wife was half black. My daughter's half Filipino. So when it comes to hating on me because I'm not down with the party, you know what I'm saying? I don't care. The good Lord brought me to this town. I had no idea. I didn't know anything about this town until I started doing Bible study with this young lady who comes from this town. What's your first and last name? John O'Halloran. J-K-I-D-K. Message deleted by the kid. That's okay, kid. Let his shit fly, homeboy. I don't care. Figure it out for yourself. Here, wait a second. There we go. I'm easy to find, J-K-I-D-K. I'm quite easy to find. Message retracted. It don't matter, J-K-I-D-K. You can retract your message. I just took a screenshot of it, so it don't matter. Was Jesus a racist? Yeah, exactly, kid. I get a lot of haters, man. A lot of haters. And like I said, I don't know why the good Lord brought me to this town. If it was to expose these Nazis or whatnot, who knows? All I know is I'm here. I ain't going to change who I am. And like I said in my last live, I don't live in fear. I'm very careful, you know, when it comes to my safety. So if somebody wants to come bring me harm, they'll be in for a fight. Hopefully people just leave me alone till I can get the hell out of here. But, you know, either way, I don't give two shits. Kelly, silver is gaggling 32.78. Gold is at 33.77. Wow, Kelly. Yeah, man. I'd be curious to see what happens with all these tariffs and whatnot, and what happens to the metals, man. I wish I didn't get out of them, didn't sell my stack when I did, that's for sure. But I was anxious to get this charity started and getting extra trucks and all that stuff. I didn't see any point in hanging on to it. But with the way things went in this little town, I'd have been a lot better off with the silver than 3 or 4 pickup trucks, that's for sure. But the good Lord works in mysterious ways, and you just don't know what's coming around the corner. So what's up, J-Kid? Cat got your tongue? You didn't like me screenshotting your comment? You were a little late on the retraction. Yeah. And it doesn't matter, because I made sure that there's some folks back home that know if anything happens to me. 1, make sure I get an autopsy. 2, make sure somebody audits my YouTube channel. I think I've had a total of 4 death threats down there in the comment section so far. If somebody was going to bring me harm, it ain't going to be somebody who puts a stupid comment down in the comment section, because it'll lead right back to them. It's the ones that hide in the shadow that I need to be um, keeping my eye out for. It's the quiet ones. I learned that as a little kid. I seen plenty of kids in school that had a big mouth and would stick their chest out and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But the little quiet guy in the corner was always the one that got the baseball bat and cracked somebody over the head. It's not the comment section that I worry about. Jacob Jones. Hey, Johnny, hope you are doing well, brother. Thank you, man. I hope you're doing well, too. And I'm doing okay. Your heart was in the right place and you got shit on. I am a firm believer that things happen for a reason. Happy Easter, brother. God bless. Thank you, Kelly. Right back at you, brother. Silent but deadly. Yeah. It's never the trolls in the comment section talking shit that I got to worry about. It's the ones that I don't hear anything or I don't see anything until they're right there in front of me. Like I said, I seen plenty of that when I was a kid. I seen plenty of the quiet ones in the corner do some pretty wild shit. Real wild shit. I had a kid in grammar school, light-skinned black kid. We were playing football or soccer or something on the playground, and sorry about that. That was my stalker. No caller ID blocked. You just can't. And just so you know, that makes 16. That's 16 crank phone calls from you. And like I was saying about getting an autopsy if something happens to me while I'm in this town, to find out how I passed away and to audit my YouTube channel. I got some things, unknown voicemail. I got some things going to an attorney, stalker. A t-shirt, phone records and such. I got somebody that wants to do something about you right now. But I'm not going to get into that while I'm still living here. You're just a pussy, right? Like I said, it's the quiet ones. Oh, that's what I was getting into. So back to the playground when I was a kid. This light-skinned black kid and I were playing football or something, and I got the best of him. You know, tackled him or blocked his shot on the basketball court or something, and it really pissed him off. And we got into a little hassle in the playground. This was probably 4th or 5th grade. And the yard duty teacher came up and took me to the office because we got in a little hassle. It wasn't even a fist fight. We were rolling around on the ground, but nobody got hurt kind of thing. And he ran away. The yard duty teacher couldn't catch him, and he just ran away. So I'm sitting in the office in elementary school, waiting to talk to the principal or whatever, right, to tell him what happened. This kid comes walking into the office in the elementary school with a baseball bat and tried to hit my head, and I put my arm up, and he hit me in the arm with a baseball bat, right in front of everybody. So you never know when it's coming. But if you're ready, you'll be all right. So go ahead with your crank phone calls, Nazi. Yeah, the crank phone call that I just got, number 14, 15, whatever it is, that's a guy who I had words with and called him a Nazi, and he said, "You're damn right." And in one of his voicemails, I've only listened to 3 of them. I don't bother to listen to them anymore. I just save them. But in one of his voicemails, he proceeds to say how I'm just trying to protect my family. What are you trying to protect your family from, dipshit? I'm a lonely old man. I stay to myself. But you, my friend, you step on your Johnson every time you call me. Just simply because you block your phone number from my caller ID, you really don't think the cops can't figure out exactly who you are and where you're calling from? Just saying. So go ahead and call again. I don't give a fuck. Never have. I don't bother to listening to them anymore. Don't need to. You got nothing to say that I want to hear. You guys are even seeing this thing anymore. It tells me the clock is still ticking, but that don't mean shit. So, please do me a favor. Love the ones that love you back. Do your best with the trolls in the world. Do a kind act for a stranger. It goes a long way in this day and age. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.